I am in Coronado de Vasquez, where I was last week, and I have some things to do, and I'm stopping to see one thing first. So this is actually what I came to see, and I thought that might be a kava bar, and it might be, but it's closed. So having established that, or having not established whether I can get kava, I'm going back to the center of town to the right. We're back in the square, and there's the church again, and it would be nice to stop here for a while, but I want to move on to the bus terminal, which is a few blocks that way. So there's the terminal, actually de troncalization, I guess. And my bus is to Costa, which is right there. By the way, I'm not actually sitting in the road, I'm sitting in the medium. But I don't know how long it's going to be there, and I'd like to go and get something to eat, but also I don't want to miss the bus because I don't know how often it comes. Luckily I brought snacks. I always bring snacks. So I'm going to go wait, and if the wait seems to be going on, then I'll ask somebody or something, but for now I think I could just wait. Just got off a bus. This is Patio de Agua, water patio. This was not actually the bus I was going to take, but I just didn't know how long I was going to have to last. But this does look like something different. So I'm going to walk this way some more. Right there's the bus that's taking off and the church. So let's see what Patio de Agua is about. So they're coming from the U.S. This is quite different because we're in a rural area, but the land use is still these houses are cheek by jowl, and past a mini super, and also you have bus service, which the bus going up a road that was about this wide, it was a ride. And so one thing in this direction, according to Google Maps, there is a Mirador, and since the view was already really good, they consider it a Mirador. It's going to be quite a viewpoint. So I'm just going to continue this way, see what's there. So we also have a school here, and look at how nice this infrastructure is. And in an area where, this is a rural area, things are a little bit rough here, but when it comes to building schools, they put resources here. And even compare that to the presidential palace, which really looks like it's about, the same level of newness as this. So even in a rural area, they're going to build a nice school. It kind of shows where the country's priorities are. Also, I'm kind of short of breath. This is a steep road. What do we have up there? I might have been wrong about something, as incredible that it is, because earlier when I was looking at these little yellow flowers both here and in Cartago, I said those are crucifers. But here, and this looks like a similar flower, those are 5-petaled. So either those are a different flower, or I just didn't notice before that the flowers I was talking about were not in fact crucifers. But also with that in mind, it's also clear, oh no, okay, so I was right, because you can see these are 4 pointed flowers. These are crucifers. Okay, disaster averted. And the climate here is quite different. I said even last week when I was in Coronado that we were, I think 300 meters, 300 meters or about 900 feet above, where I live. And up here, wow, we must have climbed another 500 feet or so, I think. Now I'm climbing more. So as we get closer to the volcano, yeah, things are cooling down up here. So I don't know if these horses or possibly mules are loose or if this is just a weed abatement program. Not a lot of traffic here to worry about. Somebody drove by, didn't make a comment. So this could just be weed abatement program. I also can't tell if those are horses or mules. I think those might be mules though. Okay, we are continuing in this direction. I wonder if I would have known about this in my first few weeks here, what my impression would have been if I would have known there's restful places. You know, I prefer a total natural experience, of course, but something like this where it's settled, but it's quiet, peaceful, birds chirping, rows of flowers, certainly has put me in a good mood, even though, as I mentioned, this is a pretty steep walk. Another point about how high we are, if you look down that way, we are above some of the clouds, although you can see still far below others of the clouds as we continue to head upward. Also, this farm that I've been passing is, according to Google Maps, Suplidora de Viveros. It is a nursery or greenhouse supply farm. Possibly because we're at an altitude where plants that would not grow totally naturally in a lot of Costa Rica can be, you know, raised here. But that's just a guess. Well, look at what friend has returned to me. This looks like this is a blackberry, and if not, it's something in the rose family. Does not look like Himalayan blackberry, and this is the first one I've noticed, but it shows how high we're getting up, that we're getting high enough that temperate latitude plants can grow. And I still have a ways to go even further upward. Also, as a note, if this wasn't so beautiful, I probably would have turned around. If I was still climbing up and there was like loud motos going by and dust, and you know, I was walking on cracked sidewalks and stuff, I would have turned around. But as you can see, it's a very peaceful road. Since I passed the mules and the car passed me, no traffic, so just walking along this road calmly, but I am tired. And I'm not 100% sure, but the pattern of those berries do look like elderberries. So we're just seeing a number of temperate latitude plants here. It makes me feel more at home, including right there, as far as I can tell, that is some form of dog rose. The flower and the leaf pattern certainly look like it, and if we have blackberries, that's also a place where you're naturally going to see roses. I am almost there, is the theory, and hopefully there's something there. I don't know what Mirador means in this case. It could just be a spot in the road, or there could actually be like a place where I can sit down, which I want to do. Here's a change, going on to what looks to be a, like I said, I'm going to say gravel road, but it looks like it's a paved road, paved differently. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going forward. Coronado is life. Connect to the environment. And that is what I'm doing. Dogs barking ahead. Problem in a lot of places. You know, when I hear dogs barking, I don't know if they're chained up or if they're just barking to hear themselves bark, or if it's a situation where I might have like dogs loose on the road. That's the situation in a lot of places. And actually here hasn't been much of a problem. The dogs, like the people, are peaceful. Also, we continue with this concrete, but not asphalt road. A couple things. One is this road is disappearing even more. And the other is I looked on my Google Maps, and apparently I already passed the Mirador del Patio de Aguas, because apparently it's not like some type of super fancy turnoff. It's just a place where you have a good view. And that's kind of actually been hard to know because all of these places have good views. I mean, it's just been several kilometers of good views. Anyway, so I'm going to go back there. And the road does continue that way, but for two reasons. One, I'm tired. 2, it looks like it might be getting more private, and I don't want to be disturbing people's privacy and or getting myself in trouble. I'm just going to turn around and walk this way. Mountain will be there tomorrow, and I will actually look at where we have the views and make a view of the views. Surprise twist. Well, surprise twist, somebody had a party. In a surprise twist, the building with the dogs that was barking, as far as I can tell from my map, that is the building. So that might actually be some type of restaurant or bed and breakfast. So I'm going to call this here. This is the Mirador del Patio, as close as I can get next to that sign. And I mean, this is a pretty good viewpoint. We have a fence in a row, but this is the viewpoint. If we look in that direction, yeah, I think that might be the official thing that's listed there. Looks like that's a B&B of some sort. And so actually I'm going to put this down for 1 second because I want to check something. So I just checked, and from here, looking this way parallel to the road, I'm looking down at Tres Rios. And that way is actually south and it's a bit occluded, but that's actually Paseo Chomolgo. That's directly south of the pass between San Jose and Cartago, which I've taken before. And so all along here, you know, if that's Tres Rios, we're really looking to the distance, and it shows how far we are. That San Jose, even though it doesn't have the, you know, largest skyline in the world, from here I can't really see any specific landmarks or anything in San Jose, which that actually should be San Pedro, and then San Jose is behind it. But actually from here I can't tell anything. Maybe my viewfinder, maybe the image can. It's a little bit clearer in my viewfinder, but I can't really see anything from up here. So now I'm going to go down, even though I came up all this way, and this is kind of the climax, so to speak. Giggle, giggle. There will be obviously more things to see. This might turn into a long video. So one thing, walking down is a lot less strain for cardiovascular effort, but this road is steep enough that, like, you know, it's causing some pain on my joints, even with my great new shoes. So I will have paid my dues and will be sleeping the sleep of the just tonight when I come down and am able to relax. Beautiful walk, like I said, but yeah, there is some strain here. So now that I have a little bit more air in my lungs, I can talk about why I took this route. I was originally going to go to Cascajal, which is up the main road that runs parallel to this small road. But the thing is I didn't know how long I would have to wait, and this is certainly new and different for me. So I just decided to take this road instead. And actually I took like a picture of frequency tables, which in the US I would just know because I have this all saved in PDFs on my computer. There was a frequency table on the side of the bus, and then I was looking at it later, and it was kind of hard to read, but it was like, I think as much as 60 minutes or 120 minutes for those buses. So rather than wait and just get frustrated, I just decided to do something. And as you can see, this is totally worthwhile. And, you know, I think actually, maybe due to the weather, this is my favorite part of Costa Rica so far. So I might just be coming back here for my reigning time and just taking all these different little roads. I almost am going to suspect that this cloudy valley that goes off towards the northeast or so, I think that would be where I would be going if I wasn't going here. Another serious point about this, because Costa Rica is, you know, the destination for some very lucrative tourism, and a lot of people come here for a lot of money, and they're like, well, should I spend $300 a night for a tree house in La Fortuna? I'm like, well, yeah, nice work if you can get it. But the point is that you can visit Costa Rica, and maybe this is not what you see in, you know, tourist videos. But okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Whatever you're doing right now, does it look more or less beautiful and interesting and educational and you know, life affirming than this? And like I've shown in a lot of my videos, life in Costa Rica isn't all peaches and cream, but there's a lot of stuff you can see from San Jose. It's just, it's not really publicized, you know, all these great little day trips, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. So the descent on this road has been pretty difficult on my calves and knees and ankles, probably toes. But it looks like right here we are getting to a place where it flattens out. And sometimes when you're walking up a hill, you know, you'll go really up and then it'll go kind of up and it's all just a blur. And then you go back and you're like, oh, there were some parts that were harder than others. So after this, I will be walking a little bit easier is the hope. I think that's only the second motor vehicle I've seen go by. Actually, since I started downward, it's the first. And ahead, we see our weed control team working hard. And I'm assuming now that that's on purpose because somebody probably would have discovered them. And they seem to be like moving methodically. So I think they let them out here to control weeds. And not a lot of traffic, so you know they're pretty safe here. Looks like they turned right around. Must have just been going up looking for a turnoff, or else they got lost. And this right here, this might be the school, so I'm mostly way back to the middle of Patio de Agua. So there's the church, Iglesia del Patio de Agua, and that's where I came in. And I could wait there for the bus, but I am going to continue down this road, and I'm going to take another turn. A lot depends on how much my legs can take, and if I can find some nice soda. I'm walking down Patio del Agua. You can see on this side of the street we have a lot of homes. Some of those look to be affluent, maybe vacation homes of some sort. On the other hand, to the side of the street, we just have a field full of cows. I've probably said this in many places, but kind of the concept and the structure of what urban and rural and suburban, all those labels are quite different here, as you can see. So according to Google Maps, this is the road. I want to turn this way, and then I'm going to walk back on the main road after it crosses the Rio Virilla. That's the theory. Now, do I know what I'm doing? No. Is this a good idea? Maybe not. Am I learning something new? Mentally. Well, this is interesting. I don't know what this is, but this does look like something. Is there a ford? It looks like there might be a ford over the river. So this is an interesting place where the pedestrian infrastructure is easier than the car infrastructure because it looks like cars actually do just ford this. Now, also I do feel not the most secure place, but this is what I came to Costa Rica to see. And this is the Rio Virilla. So this is the river that forms the big canyon, like when we went to Heredia and stuff, but much smaller here. So small you can drive right over it. That is interesting. So I've seen some interesting stuff today. So another thing, right now, it's a little bit after 4. I got started late today. You know, took a while, you know, waiting for buses, that type of thing. And, you know, I got up to the top of the Mirador and then I walked down. Anyway, the long and short of that is that about an hour more of daylight. And I'm hoping that once I get to this main road, it will be wide and spacious and easy to walk down. If not, I'll probably take a bus if this is the road for a bus. But this is why I came to this country, to have adventures like this. That just answered one of my questions. There are buses here. So according to my map, this is Durazno, means peach. And I'm kind of curious if there is more there, especially if I could find something to drink or something. But I don't want to walk up there and walk in circles when, you know, feeling tired. Oh, and look at what we have here. We have a sidewalk with a nice yellow stripe. That is a sign. And so I think that if I continue down this way, I will find what I'm looking for. That's the plan. You know how long I've been wrong about that before. I did get a bottle of water, got a good price for it. Even the little stores and stuff, you know, you go to a rural area, the little stores and stuff have been really fair to me and haven't tried to overcharge me. And we also have a veterinarian school. And that's kind of interesting because this all, also the water purification plant, this all just kind of popped out at me like you saw what I was going through. I was going through the jungle swinging bridge with the cars fording water, and then I pop out the next minute and I'm in a little outpost, and that's pretty common here, as I've shown. So there actually were 2 bus stops in that little Durazno area, and I could have waited for a bus. As you can see here, we don't have a sidewalk. We do have a good enough shoulder. Still, what I'm doing right now, maybe not the smartest thing, but it's so hard to tell right now because around that bend, I could have like a wide path, for the next 3 miles. So I'm just going to continue down this way. Well, I've been walking along a little bit more, got a little bit more suburban, and I am pretty close to where I will be turning around, or where I will be getting on a bus, rather. Well, I thought I had a sidewalk, and maybe I have something. Just a couple more blocks, more or less, to San Rafael, where I turned around last week. Putting this all into logic, which I did not know if I would get everything into logic today, but it looks like I did. So to sum up, I mean, today I saw areas that were more or less rural, and most of this, most people would classify as rural. When you're out there and there's no people in sight and lots of cows, that looks like rural. But obviously an area like this is more what we would call suburban. And sometimes I went right between like places where, yeah, we had like cars fording the river, and then a couple blocks later you're just waiting here. So I show pieces of it, and people who are interested can think about it. And this is going to look different if you're from Costa Rica or you're thinking of visiting. But I guess one thing I would say to sum up is that if you want to come to Costa Rica, don't just focus on the totally packaged, quote-unquote natural areas, where there is like just a lot of really reasonable little day trips where you can see something that's really nice. So that's my advice. I might have 1 or 2 more pieces, but that kind of sums it up for me for the day. So related, today's the 2nd of February. 2 days is the election, so I've been hearing and seeing that. Cars with loudspeakers getting the vote out. Not something you really see in the US, but that is, democracy is like that. Okay, one more block. I've been telling myself that for a while. So I was just a couple blocks away from the church, which was the ultimate point before, and a bus went by. And I wasn't quite to the stop yet, and I also wanted to complete the logic. So from here, because those buses seem to be pretty wide intervals, I'm going to walk pretty much probably back down to Coronado. Unless there are other buses entering the road. So in places there might be a stop where there will be another bus. But at this point, might as well continue. Then the other thing about that is I've walked a lot today and I have not eaten enough, and I can feel myself bonking, but I'm too kind of uncomfortable and thirsty, even though I brought some food. So these are the things you have to plan for, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. So continue to walk down. Looks like I'm just going to go straight to Coronado. I did witness an altercation. No physical blows were struck, but it seemed pretty close, like a guy was chasing a guy down the road. You could tell it was not a joke, although I don't know how serious it was. And it's interesting because that's the first thing I've noticed of that sort in Costa Rica. And it looks like they noticed too. Costa Rica in general is a peaceful country, and I can just feel that usually, like, people aren't as defensive about their personal space. You accidentally bump into somebody, they don't get mad. And for the most part, I've seen the police mostly, I think, dealing with traffic accidents. So there is that. I have seen some stuff today. And as you can see now, we have returned to civilization. I just crossed the district boundary, the canton boundary, back into Montes de Oca. So one other personal note, if anybody's still watching at this point, but kind of relevant. One thing is, just in the past couple of weeks, I felt a lot more self-confident. And like today, I would ask a lot of people for directions, made kind of small talk with people. And I was able to do that linguistically before, but it just takes me a while to adjust. I'm actually kind of a shy person sometimes. And that is one thing to remember if you travel in a foreign country, is that even when you have a good linguistic skill, it might take you a while to adjust and feel kind of natural there. That's kind of where I'm getting now. And ironically, I have about 6 more weeks here before I go home. So you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Okay, and you can see also part of the self-confidence, staying out later, coming home at dark. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to rest. I did a lot of stuff today.